Hey guys, good morning. So I hope you are doing well, and let's start Angular tutorial part 1. So for this we are going to discuss Angular lifecycle hook in today's tutorial. So I would like to explain what is Angular lifecycle hook. So let's see from basic on Angular lifecycle hook. So the thing is, I would like to explain you what is the sequence of Angular lifecycle events. So first event is called as a ng on changes. Second event is called ng on init, and third event is called as ng do check, and fourth event is called and that is ng after content init, and fifth event is known as ng after content check, and sixth event is called as ng after view init, and seventh event is ng after view checked, and eighth and last event is ng on destroy. So these are the life cycle events. These are the called as sequentially as mentioned on sequence. These are the called on as a sequence as I mentioned over here. First is called as a ng on changes, then second is on init, then third is called as ng do check, and fourth is ng after content init, and then this is what when called ng after content checked, and then called this and this. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Hey friends, good morning. I hope you are doing well. So today I'm basically going to discuss Angular lifecycle hooks. So we know whether if you have developed ASP.NET application, there is also lifecycle goes for any pages. So as it is, Angular application has also life cycle. So if you are going to create any component has basically a life cycle. So today we'll discuss how the life cycle and what are the events in my life cycle are executed when if you are going to create component. So let's start with the simple. So first thing I would like to tell you one thing, like I will be creating first part as a theory part, and then next part I will be creating as a practical part. So where I will be covering as a most of the things as a practical. So uh, okay, so first life cycle event is known as a ng on changes. Second is known as a ng on init, and third life cycle event is known as ng do check. Fourth life cycle event is ng after content init, and fifth life cycle event is ng after content checked. Sixth life cycle hook event is ng after view init, and seventh is basically ng after view checked, and last event is known as ng on sorry on destroy. So these are the life cycle events of any component. So first event is known as an ng on changes, then ng second is known as ng on init, and third is do check. As it is, all these 8 events are the parts of any Angular components. So now the thing is, there is one more thing, like you can discuss about constructor. So constructor is not part of actually lifecycle hook, it's a part of TypeScript. So but the sequence of calling any application, first constructor is called, then ng on changes, then ng on init, then do check. Now the thing is, ng on changes called only in page lifecycle event. If any input data bound property is changed, then only this event will be called, and after immediately this event ng init is called, where component or directives are initialized, and then ng do check is called for like if any data bound property are changed, then other rest of the method are called. But the thing is, I would like to tell you, like eighth method is not called whenever your any application is get executed. This method only called when you will move to one component to another component, or if you are going to hide or close current component. Remember one thing, then only ng on destroy is called. So there are multiple question comes in your mind. So the thing is, like like what is difference between constructor and ng on init? The main thing is what constructor is used for dependency injection in Angular, while ng on init is used for binding your data from services or database or etc anything. So and another reason is what you should not bind your data on constructor, because if it is going to take much time on to take load the data, then your component is not visible. So advice, please write all this code in ng init. So I would like to discuss with you one more thing, like all these event, if you are going to call explicitly in your program, then you need to use constructor also. So there is a constructor is also used. So I'd like to tell you what are the constructor on changes constructor you need to import. This is basically from Angular core, and as it is, if you are going to use ng on init, then you need to import on init interface. As it is, if you are going to do for do check interface, for this after content init interface, and for checked after content checked interface. If you are going to implement like use this method, then you need to implement after view init interface. For this you need to use after view checked interface. For this eighth method you need to use on destroy, sorry, this interface. So in next video I would like to make I will make a demo where I will show you how this method are getting called, and I will show you that if we are going to create any child component, then what will be the sequence of parent component and child component. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.